Hi everyone, just before the news in 1.5 hours, I want to talk about the low time frame bullish and bearish Elliott Wave scenario that I have on the chart, as well as the divergences going on at the moment. So the low time frame bearish scenario is that we have a WXY to the downside, where wave X is already finished. It's very, very short in time compared to wave W. Usually you want to see a more longer corrective structure, but in this bearish scenario, this is the low of X, and we are now in a WXY to the downside, which is then going to finish a wave Y. So this is a 3, and then another 3 wave to the downside, where then this structure is a zigzag followed by any corrective pattern, and you expect another zigzag to the downside, and then a double zigzag WXY inside this wave Y. The most common target area for this blue wave Y is between the 1.236 and the 0.618, which is pulled from the high to the low of W to the high of wave X, with the 0.618 sitting at 25.2k, which is quite interesting because we also have a double bottom over here, which on this chart has not yet been taken. On some charts, this low over here has already been taken by a wick over here, but on my chart, the Coinbase chart, we still have a double bottom, and we also have the common target for wave Y being between the 1 and the 1.236, which is between 24.5k and 24k, and this yellow target box is an interesting support area for price, which is between 24.850 and 24.3k, and we have a couple of naked point of controls, daily and order block, support, resistance. There's a lot going on in this particular area. In the more bullish scenario, we could also still be looking for a move to the downside, but the result is going to be different. So in this particular scenario, we are looking at this being a 3-wave structure like that. So in this particular scenario, we are now zooming in to the middle structure, where this is then a W or an A followed by a B, and then, for example, a C to the downside, or a bigger WXY, where inside this middle structure, we are then also looking for a WXY. So I have a 3-wave to the upside. This has to be a 3-wave now, because on some exchanges, as mentioned, this low has been taken. So this can't be a 5-3-5 anymore. It has to be a 3-3 and then potentially a 3 to the upside, where this then is a WX, and then we would be looking for a wave Y to the upside. Now a wave Y can have many different forms. It can have a triangle, zigzag, can be a flat, and a flat, I think, is quite interesting, where you then have a 3-wave structure to the upside that we have over here, followed then by a 3-wave structure to the downside, and then an impulse to the upside. So there you have an A, B, C expanding flat to the upside. As a minimum target for wave Y is usually the 0.618 at 26.6k, and also the, again, common target area 1-to-1 to the 1.236 between 27.4k and 28k, which has a little bit of a confluence box right above at 28k, and also the double top for me is still such an interesting area at 27.4k for additional confluence with that 1-to-1 over here. Now, if we look, however, at this range locally, then this starts to take quite a lot of time. So this wave W was very short in time, okay? Then we have wave X. Wave X was relatively long in time, and this wave Y is starting to get the same length in time as wave X. We are just in front of the 1-to-1, comparing wave X in time with wave Y in time. So wave Y is almost the same length already than wave X, and that makes me doubt a little bit about the potential validity of this being a expanding flat, because if that is the case, then this wave Y is going to be quite a lot longer than wave X, and much, much longer than a wave W. So we got to take it a little bit with a grain of salt, and especially because of the news coming up, there's a lot of possibilities. Now, on the time, on these lower time frames, we do have here a daily naked point of control at 26.1k. So if price is going to push towards the upside, this is the first area that I'll be looking for and observe what kind of reaction we get. If we're going to push through this area, maybe with a little bit of volume as well, especially with the news coming potentially, if we're going to reach the highs here, again, of the target box, then I'd be looking at the double top that we have over here, and the double top is at 26.8k. So we have 2 highs. That's going to be my next area of interest if we're going to push towards this target box. And if we're going to get past these highs over here, then the next area of interest, in my opinion, is going to be the double top at 27.4k. And towards the downside, if price is going to move towards the downside, well, it's like the double bottom at 25.4k, 25.3k. That is such an interesting area for price as well, especially with the volatility potentially coming up of the news, wicking below, grabbing a bit of liquidity before then moving into whatever direction, of course, price wants to do. So from an Elliott Wave perspective, In both the bearish and the bullish scenario, a move towards the downside is interesting. In the bullish scenario, it's then an expanding flat. And in the bearish scenario, it would end something before then a move back towards the upside for higher prices. But we do have, if we look at the divergences, some bullish divergences going on, also bearish, but also bullish divergences. So first of all, we have the bigger bullish divergences over here, higher low in price, lower low on the CVD, which I'll show in a second. More locally, over here, we already had bullish divergences between these lows, but this has played out as we took this high. Very nice. Again, bullish divergence, higher low in price, lower low on the CVD. Make sure, if you don't know what I'm talking about, check out the CVD video in my end screen because I explain everything. Best indicator in my opinion. So higher low in price, lower low on the CVD, where the target is then this high over here. However, we now move to the upside with price, of course, over here. Basically closed this gap by reaching this order block over here on the 15-minute time frame, finding a bit of resistance at the moment. But also we do have some bearish divergences going on. So a lower high in price, higher high on the CVD, where this is then the target. And if I then move towards the CVD, I'm on the 15-minute time frame, so this is the same. Then locally, you can see that over here we have a higher low in price, but on the blue line we have a lower low on the CVD, which is a bullish divergence target over here. And if we then look more locally, we have a lower high on price. And now don't be confused, if I go from the red candle to the downside here, so the high that was made, and I move straight down, then this is the CVD of that red candle at the high. And you can see now on the right side with my horizontal cursor line that currently price, the CVD line I mean, went above my horizontal cursor line. So we do have some bearish CVD divergences. Now from experience, and of course it's all probabilities, there is no 100% guarantees, but from experience the CVD divergence that exists first has a higher probability of playing out unless we get something like this. Right, we get a retracement and then another bearish divergence over here. That's the moment where I'll be like, okay, the probabilities might change for more downside. So this bullish divergence over here existed first, therefore it gets priority, but it's probabilities, right? We don't know what's going to happen, but it's probabilities. I prefer the bearish divergence to be something like this, retracement, then some new ones, and that's the moment where potentially I think, okay, we might actually go to the downside. As it stands now, upside therefore is still preferred with that daily naked point of control right above at 26.1k. And then the news, please be prepared, 2:30 p.m. That's when it all starts. Then we have 8 p.m. and then we have 8:30 p.m. So it's going to be a volatile day. Make sure you're prepared. So we'll see what happens at 2:30 p.m. Central East European time. Make sure to check your time zone. And then at 7 p.m. I have another update just before. 1 hour later, the news is going to hit once more. So trade safe, whatever your plan is. Make sure you trade safe, have a plan, have entry requirements. And we just wait and see what price, of course, is going to do on these lower time frames. Because just like yesterday over here, we had big volatility, right? Price moving up impulsively and then moving bam to the downside over here. So this can also just be a move to the downside, a retracement, and then a continuation. But of course, we know our resistance areas, we know our support areas, we have the scenarios, we have a bullish scenario, a bearish scenario. If we move to the downside, we have the target box over here, we have a potential double low to grab. So we know the areas of interest, right? Double lows might signal potentially a swing failure pattern type of trade, where if we get a move to the downside, wicking below, closing above, that is then potentially an entry. Stop loss below for then higher prices. But if price doesn't want to move to the upside, but instead continues to the downside, we have our support area over here. And whatever your plan is, maybe you want to see a market structure change, maybe you want to see bullish divergences in the retracement that you get, whatever it is that follows your plan, stick to your plan, and you'll hopefully find success in the long run. I hope this video was helpful or valuable to you. Please check out the memberships and the most recent educational video I've made about the best trading indicator you can use in my opinion. And for now, thanks for watching and subscribing, and I'll see you at the next one. Bye-bye.